Lord of the Rings is the Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings. Trolls out the time with the Lord of the Rings. Actually, this is the Hobbit, so. But over the misty mountains cold. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to Thumbs Up Movie Reviews. As you can see, I'm not currently in my room where I currently review movies right now, but right now that is being really occupied. It's messed up, so I'm gonna have to review it in some other place. So I found some other place to review this movie. So today I'll be reviewing The Hobbit: The Battle of Five Armies, the last Middle Earth movie, unless it gets rebooted in like 20 years. I hope it doesn't, because I love The Lord of the Rings. Anyway, before I get to the review, I'd just like to say, I am a die-hard Lord of the Rings fan. Even though I've never read the books, I've seen all 3 movies, and they are my 3 favorite movies of all time. I think it's the best movie trilogy of all time. I like it more than Star Wars, and I love Star Wars. My favorite movie right now is Return of the King. I love Return of the King. It's amazing. I love it. The action's awesome. The story was great. Anyway, enough about Lord of the Rings. Let's get on to The Hobbit: The Battle of Five Armies, the last Middle-earth movie. So anyway, the first Hobbit was good. I liked it. I had trouble with the pacing, and you know, the second Hobbit I liked more. Trust me, I love the second one more than the first one because it's Smaug. Come now, don't be shy. Step into the light. Where are you? I smell you. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, here's on to the review. The Hobbit: The Battle of Five Armies is a storyline where the dwarves of Erebor have reclaimed the treasure, but now the men of Lake Town, the elves, and a bunch of other armies want the treasure, so they battle for it. Then the orcs get into it, and definitely, well, just guess it's a big battle of 5 armies. Anyway, hey, let's get on to what I liked. Martin Freeman as Bilbo is the best choice of this film. I mean, it was a great casting choice. I mean, every time I look at Martin Freeman in this movie, I go, that's Bilbo Baggins. I mean, I read the book. Although I've never read Lord of the Rings, I have read The Hobbit, and as I'm reading this, I read it after the first Hobbit came out, and I was like, oh wow, they did choose Martin Freeman for this role very right, because Martin Freeman, I'm just saying, is a perfect choice for Bilbo. I like Thorin in this movie. Like in the second one, he reminded me kind of Aragornish, like an Aragornish dwarf. This one, he reminds me of the madness that drove him. I like Thorin in this movie because he is just awesome. He kicks a lot of butt, and I'm just gonna say, I mean, I just think he's a cool character. I mean, they developed him very well, and you can see into his eyes that he really wanted the treasure and the dragon, and to be dead. What I did like is, a lot of people thought this was very unnecessary, but I thought it was pretty cool. It was a part where it was Gandalf's side story in this one. I thought Gandalf's side story was really cool. I'll admit that. I thought it was really cool. Although I'll admit it was somewhat unnecessary. I thought it was very necessary, and I thought it was very awesome. Anyway, I do like Luke Evans as Bard. Luke Evans is a great Bard. He's very mysterious. You don't really know his past, but you get to know him as a character, and I just want to know more. And Luke Evans just made me want to know more about Bard, and he did in the second movie. Of course, Smaug in this movie is just as terrifying as he was in The Desolation of Smaug. He always has a voice, and he's again played by Benedict Cumberbatch, the Batch of Cumber. I smell you. I am fire. I am death. Anyway, now let's get into what other things I did like. This movie is very emotional, because you could tell Peter Jackson wanted this to be very emotional, because it's the last Middle-earth movie, but they're not all like, oh, this is it, the final battle. No, they're just very emotional because of what happens to them is very emotional. In fact, I even teared up a little bit during what happened. I mean, it's very emotional. I thought the dwarf-elf relationship was better than it was in Desolation of Smaug. I mean, the dwarf-elf relationship in Desolation of Smaug, I was like, really? Because they're trying to, I guess, repeat the relationship of Aragorn and Arwen from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but I'm sorry, but you can't do that. I mean, a dwarf and an elf, I don't see that. A human and an elf, I can see that, but anyway. Hey, I thought it was more emotional this time. Legolas is awesome in this movie. He was awesome in Lord of the Rings because he kicked a lot of butt. I'm just gonna say that. I mean, my favorite scene is one of my favorite scenes from the Lord of the Rings trilogy is from Return of the King when Legolas just takes down that giant elephant from Mordor and Gimli's like, that son comes as one. That's one of my favorite scenes from Return of the King. And Legolas just does it a lot of this. Legolas, when he fights, is awesome. Is better than the Desolation of Smaug. I liked the battle. The battle in this movie, the Battle of Five Armies itself, is awesome. Everything about it is just so freaking awesome. It's like a battle from Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's not as good as some of the battles in Lord of the Rings. Like, it's not as good as the Battle of Helm's Deep or the Battle of Minas Tirith or the battle for Middle-earth at the Black Gate. But still, it was an awesome battle. It was very awesome. It was very well done, and the action was just awesome. The Windmills were awesome. The Men of Lake Town just destroying the Orcs was awesome. Now, I will admit, although I loved this movie, I go back and forth between this and Desolation of Smaug over which is my favorite movie from the Hobbit trilogy. But it does have some problems like Desolation of Smaug did. First off, even though this is the shortest Middle-earth movie, trust me, it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes, it does get a little slow and a little, I will say, a little boring towards the beginning. Well, not really the beginning, mostly like scenes after the beginning. I mean, it does get a little slow and boring, but overall, I mean, I felt that a lot of the stuff was a little, I will say, unnecessary. The details, like, I don't know, I just don't want to get into full detail on it because I don't want to spoil the movie for you guys, trust me. But anyway, just go on and see. I do recommend this movie. I go back and forth between this one and Desolation of Smaug, which is my favorite of the Hobbit trilogy. This one or Desolation of Smaug. I will say that it does end on a very high note. The ending of this movie is great, and I will say it's a great lead-up for Lord of the Rings. In fact, I want to watch them again, because even though I watched all 3 Lord of the Rings movies before I saw this one, I actually want to watch them again, because it does do a very good lead-up to Lord of the Rings, because there's a lot of stuff in here that does lead up to Lord of the Rings. I'm serious. And, yeah, basically, and, it does end on a very high note, I will say. It's great to return to Middle-earth, and I'd just like to say, overall, I did love this movie. Overall, I did love it. Even though I did have some flaws with it. Another problem I had was also something I liked and something I didn't like at the same time. I did like the special effects in this movie. The special effects were great. On the other hand, they were, as you're watching it, you're like, okay, that's obviously CGI. You could obviously tell it. But overall, The Hobbit, the Battle of Five Armies was a great time. I thought it was a great ending to Middle-earth and the Peter Jackson movies, Peter Jackson interpretations of Middle-earth. The battle was awesome. The acting, I will say, was great. The writing was pretty great. There were a few parts that I felt were unnecessary, but overall, The Hobbit, the Battle of Five Armies gets a thumbs up. So guys, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to MovieStuff for more thumbs up movie reviews. And this is Nate Bridgman. Trust me. See you later.